Hey guys, so I'm going to show you how I made this pumpkin pie. I just got it out the oven, so it's got to cool. So while that's cooling, I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. I just use pumpkins that you carve, and I'll show you the entire process and what recipe I used to get this awesome pumpkin pie. So let's get to it. Okay, so I'm going to cut the top off the pumpkin all the way around. And I'm going to pull this out. And you know, I'm going to save these seeds in here because I'm going to go ahead and bake these seeds and have pumpkin seeds as well, because I feel like you should use everything in the pumpkin. So I'll put the pumpkin seeds in here and sort that out later. And we're going to cut this into quarters. This knife is sharp, really awesome. So make sure to be careful if you're going to do this. Be very, very careful. Let me see, open it like that. All those awesome seeds, pumpkin seeds. So we're going to separate them. While you're actually preparing the pumpkin like this, you want to preheat your oven to 400 degrees so that you can begin to cook them, so the oven can be all nice and ready for you to put the pumpkins in. And you want to cook this for about 30 minutes to an hour. It depends on how thick the pumpkin is. Now this is a small pumpkin, so this will cook probably pretty fast, about 30 minutes. When I have big squash or so, that takes about an hour, and sometimes an hour and 15 minutes. So it just really depends on the size of your pumpkin. So I'm going to cover this up like this in my glass dish. You could use a regular dish, whatever dish you have. I just love cooking with this dish right here, this glass dish. As you can see, it's all nice and cooked in here. And the pan is so hot, so I have gloves on so I don't burn myself. I had to keep this in for an hour. I did 30 minutes, and in the center it was soft, but on the outside edges where I'm scraping didn't come off easily. So I was like, okay, well, let me keep it in for another 30 minutes. So that's what I did. And so I'm doing this again. So I'm gonna get this all done and all this out of the pumpkin. So now the pumpkin has been cool for an hour, and so now I have the pie crust that I'm going to use. It had to be set. I refrigerated this. I bought it from the grocery store, and I'm using Pillsbury's pie crust because I just wanted to get it done without having to roll dough and all that stuff. So it's easy as 1, 2, 3. Just take it out of the package. You want to, since this was refrigerated, you want to let it rest for 15 minutes outside of the refrigerator at room temperature, it says. And then where it's unrolled, where you can unroll it, you want to take your time and gently unroll it. Let's get this unrolled. Take my time. Okay, great. And then I'm going to just unroll it totally, just like this. Half it, place it down, your dough down, just like this, on one side where you want one side to go. And then you can unfold it and do the other side. And then you want to press your dough into the corners of your pie pan. Make sure it's even as you can get it. And this pie pan has a slant to it, so it's pretty nice. So I just want to make sure to pat it in. So now as you can see, I pat it in. Now you see there's some excess dough around the edge here. So we're going to cut all that off. Just going to go around just the edge, just lightly with a knife, just to get that edge part off all the way around. And then we're going to crimp the top. So let me just do that. And you can crimp it all the way around the way you want to do it. And then after you crimp each side, then the pumpkin filling will be ready to be put inside of the shell here. So we're gonna set this to the side and go ahead and make the pumpkin filling. Now we're gonna make the pumpkin mixture for filling for the pumpkin pie. Now you wanna make sure to set your oven to 375 degrees. That's gonna cook this pumpkin pie for an hour, so I did that now so that it can warm up really nicely. And so we're gonna blend together or mix together the sugars. So we're gonna have a half a cup of granulated sugar. It's granulated sugar, but it's pure cane sugar. So it's by Zulka. So it's new for me, so I'm gonna try that this time for this recipe. And the brown sugar is also by Zulka. It's brown pure cane sugar, so straight organic. And then after that, we're going to also mix in here, which I have already here for us, the brown sugar and the organic cane sugar. And we have here we have to add a pinch of salt, we have to add a half a teaspoon of cinnamon, and we have to add a quarter teaspoon of nutmeg. And so we're gonna put all of this in here. Mix that all in there, make sure it's all clear. So you can mix that all together and then put that in there. And then we're gonna add a pinch of salt. So we're gonna just put a pinch of salt in it. That's about a pinch, okay? And then after the pinch of salt, we're going to mix everything together until it is smooth. So this is all the sugars and all of the spices, the salt, and we're gonna mix this until it is smooth. And I love the smell of the nutmeg. I mean, it definitely reminds me of pumpkin pie that I remember when I was a kid, and just smelling it just any time of year, but really around this time of year is when you smell, this smell reminds you of the pumpkin pie season. Okay, now so I have this incorporated and mixed very nicely. Wow, I even taste some of this filling. It is so awesome. It tastes just like pumpkin pie. So now I'm going to add some eggs. You want to mix these just until they're mixed. Don't over mix your eggs in this mixture. So I've already mixed the eggs up. So I'm just going to fold them in then, just until they're mixed. Okay, so the eggs have been incorporated really nice and simple. I made sure to just disperse it in and let it go. And then so we're gonna add a half a cup of evaporated milk into this. And then we wanna add a half a cup of water. I'm using Alpine spring water. I don't use tap water too much with anything anymore, unless I'm boiling something that I'm gonna be draining the water out. So I'm gonna mix this all in here into this mixture, just until it's mixed really nice and creamy. Okay, so you see it has been incorporated. I just mixed it until it's all been nicely incorporated. Okay, so now we're gonna add this to our pie crust. I don't want to put all of it in there at the same time. I want to put the rest of it in when it's in the oven so it can start to set. Okay, so we'll bake it in a 375 degree oven, and then we will go ahead and bake it for an hour, and then I'll show you the results. Alright guys, so I had the pumpkin pie cool off a little bit because it was really hot. When I feel the bottom, it's still a slight warm temperature. It's then got room temperature down. So I'm going to slice a piece of the pie, and we're gonna hear the verdict. Okay, it's nice and still warm. Comes out of the pan nicely, out of that non-stick pan. This is the side of it. I'll make it a little closer for you. So that's the top. Has a nice little sheen over that. The sides. And now let's try it. So it tastes really fresh, and it's warm. So if you're the kind of person that likes cold pumpkin pie, then you can go ahead and put it in your refrigerator and go ahead on and then eat it. But it's really tasty. I do like the fact that I used nutmeg instead of allspice. And the sugars that I use, the organic, non-GMO, pure organic sugar and pure organic brown sugar, they mesh really well. This is not too sweet. It tastes fresh, and it's still warm, like I said, so it'd be great with some ice cream if you want to do that. But it's an amazingly nice dessert for the pumpkin. So I recommend trying your own pumpkin pie for either Thanksgiving or Christmas, or whenever you have to give a special gift or a potluck for your office. I think this would be great to surprise people with, letting them know that you can actually cook something. So that would be fun. So thanks a lot for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon.